Welcome to the Never Quit podcast. In this episode, I will be talking to you about one of the times how me staying in shape literally saved my life. As most of you know, and if you're not familiar with me, I've been an athlete most of my life. I've always been loyal to practices, workouts, weights, etc. There came a time in my life when I realized I wasn't going to go pro like most athletes, so I needed a backup plan. Actually, let me take a step back. While even in college, I was still a DJ. That was my backup plan, to always be an entertainer or somehow rock the crowd or do something with entertainment. I never actually wanted to be a rapper or a poet, respectfully. I respect everything that they do. Back to me being a DJ. After years of being obligated to football, being committed and loyal, I became a DJ permanently and professionally, meaning that was my means of a lot of income. I started to tour a lot, make a lot of mixtapes, made a name for myself, but the whole time I wasn't taking care of myself. I was in a stage of my life at that point, like a lot of us are. I was trying to prove something to somebody, but I'm not sure who. And when I literally say that, I mean I'm not sure who. I was never one to chase women. I never really chased money. I guess it was a personal grudge against me trying to represent hip hop, represent the state of Colorado. I always felt that we were looked down upon. We never got respect. So that's why I went so hard in the paint for the state of Colorado. And then myself, which is crazy. So the whole time I'm touring and doing all this stuff as a DJ, I'm so worried about chasing this dream of being the best of myself, of that image of a DJ, producer, or whatever you want to call it, like most of us are in things in life, that we forget about ourselves. Genetically, I'm very blessed. I've always been athletic. So me being chubby or getting overweight was never something that crossed my mind. Well, 4 to 5 years later, after me not playing football and being a DJ, touring on the road, horrible diet, by the way. I was a soda king for most of those that know me. I favored any kind of soda that had caffeine or anything. Like, I abused it way more than I do at times now. It's still a personal battle that I go through. Long story short, I experienced 2 to 3 kidney stones, not learning my lesson, not doing enough water, just being big. In the hip hop culture, D-boy body was another way of accepting and saying somebody was chunky or big, or was a former athlete, or big boned, as we call it. What was D-boy status? My whole life I'd been skinny in shape, had muscles, had rips, had cuts, had all that stuff. But I started to let myself go because I was chasing this dream of being popular or being the best DJ or representing the state of Colorado, to show that we have very powerful working people here like myself. Well, after years, I did that, but also put on an extra 100 pounds. At my heaviest, I believe I got somewhere roughly between 315 and 330. I'd bounce back and forth. Most people can understand this that aren't even in the hip hop culture. I overbought my clothes. Let me rephrase that, because that was a horrible way to say it, because I didn't mean to say that. I bought bigger clothes than I actually should have been in, not overbought my clothes, but I essentially did that as well because I was trying to cover my skin and my fat layers. Back then in hip hop, extra large t-shirts were in, or anything oversized. It was cool to wear baggy, so it was easy for me to hide my weight. I just let myself go. That time in the culture, it was okay to wear bigger clothes. Meaning, if you were a 32 waist, you could get away with wearing a 38, 42, or even bigger in the waist in the Vizu jeans, Levi's, Jabot, whatever you selected at that time. So I was really good at hiding myself with my clothes, and it was in. I was sponsored by a lot of people. I believe at that time I was sponsored by LRG, so everything was 2X to 3X to 4X for me to wear, so I was good at hiding it. Long story short, I'm touring. Women's never been an issue for me. Money's never been an issue for me. So I'm chasing this dream of being the most successful DJ, but not watching my weight and watching my personal health. So I was chasing a never quit, of a never quit, of a never quit. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. But that started to destroy my body. I remember it like it was yesterday. I've told this story to a few people. I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and there's this hotel down there. You can Google it or look it up. It's called Hotel Valley Ho. It was really booked for some reason, and it's a room that has mirrors all over the place. Somehow, some way, I woke up in the middle of the night and turned the light on, and I was surrounded by mirrors. I literally saw my stomach shift in slow motion to the other side of my body. I lost it. I remember sitting in the room crying, saying, "What have you done to yourself, Quentin? You let yourself go." Nobody around me was going to tell me I was chubby, fat, or overweight because they didn't want to hurt my feelings. And at that time, I have a very dominant personality where I probably would have reacted to you verbally and maybe even physically. So it was hard to tell me that I was fat or overweight. And that was also in because they always say chubby people have attractive faces because they used to be skinny. I was skinny, I got bigger. To make a long story short, I was chubby in the fit and the look for a hip hop DJ or any DJ at the time, respectfully. Not to get off subject, I think something in American history has something with allowing people to be bigger for king mentality because you had a lot. You had a lot of food, you had a lot. But let me get back on subject. Long story short, I'm in the hotel room. I get off the bed. My stomach shifts. I vowed that next morning to start working out. I literally got a ride to the mall, got some running shoes, and started running like Forrest Gump. I literally ran every other day until I lost the weight. Speeding up years later, I moved to Boulder, Colorado. I get in the best shape of my life. When I say the best shape of my life, literally training for Ironman. People that look like my labeled race aren't favored to do that sport. That's a swim, bike, and a run. I got in the best shape of my life. One of my clients challenged me, or I challenged him, let's say. We challenged each other. Went to a local rec center, played a basketball game. We were winning about 15-2. So I'm just going way too hard. I get the ball at the top of the key. I do a hard, like check cut, or I'm gonna say a check cut. I jam my leg down. I hear this pop. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna sound funny to some people. I'm like, I got shot in Lifetime Fitness. No, it was my Achilles tendon. I blew my Achilles tendon, so I fell in the rims of Shaquille O'Neal, David Beckham, Kobe Bryant. I was in shock. My client Damien, who was with me at the time, was telling me that I was hurt and I was in denial. I was even telling him, man, we're gonna squat tomorrow. We're gonna squat tomorrow. He's looking at me like, nah, man, that's not gonna happen. I even went to the locker room, limped on it, took a shower, drove on it, drove home, had my foot up for about 45 minutes. It had swollen to about the size of a softball and a half. I knew something was wrong. My partner at the time came home. She was trying to get me to go to the hospital. I said, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. I got to squat tomorrow. I'm in the best shape of my life. It's just a sprain. It's just my calf. In denial, right? So a few hours later, I couldn't feel from the knee down. We ended up going to the hospital. They say it's too swollen, so they scheduled me out for surgery. I'll come back for surgery 2 weeks later, and I have the surgery. Let me back up a little bit. That whole time, a couple days later, I healed, and I'm still doing upper body stuff. I'm doing the rack. I'm doing dips. I'm doing all this. I'm still in denial. This can't be happening to me. I'm a savage. I'm in the best shape of my life. I can't be hurt. Well, you're hurt, Quentin, and your Achilles tendon is torn. So I prepped myself to get ready for that surgery. I remember this for a lot of people who go through surgery. I call them the man of death or the faces of death. The person that gives you the injection to put you asleep for the surgery. I felt like he was a very heartless, dark person. And I guess in that line of work, you have to be that and have no feelings. I just felt really scared signing my signature saying that I couldn't do anything if I didn't come back to life. That's a very dark moment to be in. The surgery goes well. I make it through it. I remember waking up, violently throwing up, being very scared, not even remember that I had surgery. Time passes by. I'm home like a week later. I'm just sitting on the couch. I'm watching TV. I remember I was watching the movie Alive. When I was downhilling through this, I watched the movie Alive and Friday a lot. I remember watching Alive and standing up like I was going to go try to limp to go get something out of the refrigerator, which was about 5 to 15 yards away, 15 tops. And I remember feeling dizzy and then walking back to the couch. I remember sitting down and collapsing. That's all I remember. I woke up in the hospital 45 minutes later to a doctor who was pacing back and forth in the room looking at me, back and forth in the room looking at me, going back and forth looking at me. He said, "How are you, Mr. Jones?" I said, "Fine. I don't know how I got here." He chuckles. He said, "Well, you're not going home." I said, "Why am I not going home? Can you tell me why?" He says, "We found 5 blood clots in your body, 2 by your heart, 3 by your ribs." I'd never had a health history of this. Nobody in my family. I'd never heard of it before besides a commercial with Xarelto. I was very confused. Keep in mind, I think I'm in the elite best shape of my life. I'm swimming, biking, lifting weights, running, all of the above, all to lose weight for myself, which was going to be very important. What I was told by the doctor was when I passed out, I was in such good shape that my body thought I was running. So I said all that to say, never give up on yourself when you feel like you need to change. Always move your body because I would not be here today telling this story had I not been in the best shape of my life. Till this day, thus far, we don't know when they came. We don't know what they came from. So after that, I accepted that I needed to heal and slow down. I continued to move and do stuff on my upper body, just not engage anything with my lower body to cause anything that will abruptly make anything go wrong that I wasn't aware of. I just knew that I wasn't going to stop moving. I never, ever was going to stop moving. The doctors even told me to take a break and stop moving. I never, ever wanted to stop moving. We don't know. I'm looking to this day to see if research is that's the reason why, but I highly doubt it. I said all that to say, don't ever give up on yourself and live for free. Had I not been in the best shape of my life, I wouldn't be here today. I literally collapsed, perfectly in shape human, training for Ironman, former athlete, tour DJ, had all the things I needed in life to stay healthy. I didn't have the best nutrition then, and that's another thing that I'll talk about in other episodes that's very important and key as well, because I was very on high sugar, fructose, and all that kind of stuff. When I got in the best shape of my life, I was engaging over a gallon of water a day, so that's how I justify cleansing myself out. Still to this day, I don't know why my heart stopped. I'm just happy to be here alive and tell this story and to remind people to never quit and never quit on yourself. The whole time that I was trying to be a popular DJ or whoever I was at the time, I was trying to please other people. A lot of us do that in life. We worry about the images and stuff outside of life that look like they're important things when you're really the important thing in life. Offer love to yourself. Be in shape. Never quit. Never give up on yourself. Not to sound cliche, I'm pretty sure a lot of us have heard that before in life. But I literally would not be here today if I didn't transform myself and be in the best shape of my life. Even though I thought I was in elite shape my whole life, I got a D1 scholarship. I played football, ran track. I did all the things that most people like me that genetically can do, that are labeled my race can do, and other races as well. So I wasn't special or different from anybody. What I just end up doing is never quitting on myself. In order to lose all that weight, let me backtrack. I got to whatever we say, close to 330. I averaged about 315. I began to jog on the treadmill every single day. I was getting blisters. There was a lot of things I learned as a runner that I didn't know. There was something that was happening to my nipples. I was bleeding from my nipples. I had to put Band-Aids on them because it was chafing so much. I was getting blisters in my feet because I thought Nike and all the cool shoes that had the cool names were the shoes to run in. I got familiar with a company out of Boulder called Newton Running. That shoe felt very comfortable for me. It's not for everybody. It has prongs on the front of it. Made it easier for me to run because I run on my toes. I used to run 3 to 4 times a week, sometimes 5, indoors and outdoor. And then I started to shed the weight. It literally took me 2 to 3 years to drop all that weight. So I want people to realize that it wasn't something fast. It wasn't a pill that I did. I didn't have a nutritionist. I wasn't on a certain plan. It was just gradually going at it and never quitting to make it work. Because I started out as a runner on the treadmill, going indoors and outdoors, and that started to hurt my shins and my knees, which got me obsessed to being on the bike where I'm at now today. I love the bike, sanity wise, mental wise. It does a lot of things that makes me a better person and still gives me that edge and that challenge that I need. Particularly, I believe that I went straight from the football rush to be a DJ because I like the attention and the rush of pleasing people and being an entertainer. I'm just very happy to be here, and I feel like somebody needs to hear this story because there's somebody out there giving so much of their self to other people and other things and chasing a whole bunch of stuff when you need to concentrate on yourself. A lot of people will say that's a selfish act and it looks selfish, but you can't worry about them. You have to be concerned about yourself, focusing yourself, making yourself the best you. I'm really glad that I've been through all the experiences in my life, even though I'm still dealing with some of them and they're hard. And like most things in life, you have to forgive. And that's one of my biggest weaknesses, and I work on it daily. I'm not perfect. And that's why I brought this Never Quit podcast to you because I want to share some of myself growing in front of camera and with other people and sharing other stories. But I need people to realize that you can't give so much of yourself without fueling yourself. I was so worried about being the best when the world is so huge. There's a lot of the best. And I wasn't even concentrating on myself. I think it was just being so organically used to just being a machine or militant or like a robot going to practice at 4 a.m. in Arizona, going to practices for high school, going to practice for little leagues, chasing the NFL. And we all know we need a backup plan from that if you make it to the NFL. We all have the same 24 hours. I just never made time. To this day, I really don't know what I was doing with time and not working out and keeping myself in better shape and healthier. I was just working on mixtapes, working on beats in the room, eating and sleeping. Eating and sleeping and just working and working and working will not do it. I'm really glad. Whatever woke me up that night, I still don't know to this day. I was in my underwear. I get up and I seen my body shift. My stomach literally went from the left side to the right side, and I vowed to never be that big or ever get obese. I owed it to myself because I was giving so much to other people. So all I'm saying is never quit on yourself. You can always change. You can always evolve yourself. Don't try to chase other people's dreams or fulfill other things for other people or give all your hours in your life to other people without giving to yourself. I was very guilty of that because I was overwhelmed and tired of doing everything for football and everything physically. Let me speak on this too for people. I understand why it's easy to live life for free because working out is hard. It's painful. It's sore. It's challenging. It takes time, but you owe it to yourself. I would not be here today if I didn't get in the best shape of my life. Let me repeat to you again. I was recovering from an Achilles tendon surgery on my left side. I fell out, and they're literally saying that I died. But my heart kept fighting because it was not time for me to go, and I was in the best shape of my life. I said all that to say, this is a Never Quit podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and there will be many more to come with stories like mine and others to share. Peace.